what do you need? How can we help? How can I help remove the obstacles and make your life as easy as possible? So I think making work as easy and enjoyable as it possibly can be is a huge part of it. Sure. I am the founder of Retrained Search. I've been in recruitment, in talent acquisition for nearly just over 20 years, actually. And I established Retrained Search to teach contingent recruiters how to transition from contingent to retained after making that transition myself and realizing that, well, A, it's not that difficult. And B, I could actually teach people how to do the same. Yes, there were lots of problems, and it was the problems that I faced working as a recruiter for many, many years on the contingent model. I got fed up so fed up that I nearly left the industry, actually. As I started to get older, the time that I had just became so precious, especially as I had children. Working all the hours and staying in the office until 9-10 o'clock just wasn't an option. And I was working really very hard on positions for clients, and it wasn't always resulting in a fee, and it wasn't always, quite often it wasn't my fault. It was that the client would say, actually, can we put a pin in it, or they'd accepted a CV from somewhere else, or they just decided not to hire it, or that they weren't even serious in the first place. And I got so frustrated in the end that I was going to leave the industry had I not met an amazing guy by the name of Matt Howell, who helped me and showed me that there was a different way, and that actually I could work on a retained basis. And I'd always thought that that was a model for, how should I put it, guys in expensive suits recruiting very senior executive positions, in the cities. Well, that wasn't me. I was very good contingent recruiter. I was, $500,000 a year biller. But I just never thought that it was going to be something that I was going to be able to do. And then Matt showed me that I could, and the whole thing changed. I didn't change the level that I was working at. Well, ultimately I did. It did go up quite a lot, actually. I ended up working much more senior positions and ultimately being able to bill nearly double that because I moved up the value chain into more senior positions. But initially I started just transitioning the work that I had already to retained, from contingent to retained. And so getting the financial commitment from the client enabled me to put in place a process to make sure that I could reach a result. And yeah, it was a game changer. So in answer to your question, sorry to go a long way around the houses to answer it, but that was the problem that I solved for myself, and then realised that I could help other people, because as soon as I started to do retained work and I loved it, the company that I was working for at the time asked me if I would involve other people in the business in it and start to help them do the same. And so that's when I started to figure out that I could actually help other people to make the transition as well. And it's just grown arms and legs and gone from there. And so it's been a really exciting journey, but over the years I've realised that if you want to transition to retained, then that you can learn how to do it. And that's why I established the business, to be able to help as many people as possible to have that same experience that I did. And it's been a good thing so far. Yeah, so many. It's humbling when people send messages to me, emails, messages on LinkedIn, or even ring me up and tell me and update me where they are. They say it's game changing for them, making a transition from contingent to retained. I was only talking to Tom Middleton the other day. He has a lovely mining recruitment firm. He's been doing international work for a while, but everything was on a contingent, no win, no fee basis, and he was getting frustrated with applying his expertise to positions that didn't end up resulting in a fee. And he did our program, and now subsequently his team members have been doing the course too. He now only works on a retained basis. He's just secured his first ever 6-figure assignment, and he beats one of the Shrek firms, the big search firms. So it stands for Spencer Stuart, Heidrick and Struggles, Russell Reynolds, Egon Zehnder and Korn Ferry. Most contingent recruiters don't know what that acronym means because it's a world that they haven't inhabited yet, and I didn't know what it meant either, and neither did Tom. And now he's just beat one of them on a C-suite 6-figure assignment. So I was delighted to catch up with him and see how his business is going from strength to strength. Paul Press is a member of our mastermind group now. He came to us when he was very good, excellent contingent recruiter, and establishing his own business. And since he did the program, he's now 100% retained. I think he operates a minimum fee of about $75,000 now, and everything. And his business, there's 8 or 9 of them now. Has an executive search business in private equity, in tech for private equity, and it's been a game changer for him too. So I could go on. Tracy and Jason in the US, in Montana, like, they were all contingent. They did the course and within 3 weeks started converting their work, and now, well, their testimonials on the website, and all their businesses retained now. So yeah, lots of people that benefit. Every day we get emails and messages saying thank you. Wow, that's a good question. I've moved out to the countryside, and that's helped me hugely, because when I do go outside, even if it's just for 10 minutes to take a break, I'm in nature immediately, and that makes a huge difference for me. Just being able to, see the horizon, and apparently that's very good for your mental health, being able to see the horizon. And so that's huge. The team, we're all remote as well, and I find that making sure that everybody is able to do the things they want to do when they want to do them, whether they get an afternoon and it's a nice day so they can go and play golf, or a couple of us in the team play tennis, and not feel they have to be chained to the desk from 9 to 5, that they can fit their work in around their life and not the other way around, which is really important to all of us. We take time as well as a team to take time out and decompress, and we go and have a spa day, or we went on holiday to Iceland a few weeks ago. So we all know each other well enough, so we're really comfortable. Nobody ever feels like they're under pressure, really. We're working as a team and we're all helping each other. So our stand-up meetings are, what do you need? How can we help? How can I help remove the obstacles and make your life as easy as possible? So I think making work as easy and enjoyable as it possibly can be is a huge part of it. And just encouraging people to take the time to do the things that they love doing. Claire and Ben, because we're remote and they do so well, are able to move to Mallorca, are able to move countries and set up their life where they've always wanted to work. And being able to enable that, I think helps. And as a business owner and leader, that gives me immense fulfillment to know that my team are happy and healthy and able to fit their work around their life. And that means I'm free to do the same. The only time I've really felt compromised ethically is working with some cultures where race and ethnic minority has been stipulated as a preference, either one way or another. I have been asked by some of the biggest companies in the world to select Western white candidates over any other nationality or race or colour, or it's difficult because it's not fair, and why should that be a prerequisite? But equally, the other way around, I've also been asked by some of the biggest companies in the world to do the opposite, and that's not fair either.
Yeah.
So I'd love to get to a place where everybody truly is equal, and I know that is the dream, but we're not there yet. Not there yet. I like helping people understand why they haven't been selected. And I'm a massive believer that every cloud has a silver lining, and there's lessons to be learned in everything. So I like looking at what's happened with the candidate and supporting them through learning lessons from it and helping them to grow from that experience, either to redirect their search and refine and fine-tune the opportunities that are more suitable, or in many cases to help them improve the way they present themselves, or the way they, I remember even even when I was very, very young, in my first position, when I used to work for my mum, she had a recruitment agency, and I used to have to interview the administrative, clerks and secretaries and even warehouse workers that were coming in before they went to go and interview with the client. And something as simple as helping people to realise that their handshake says so much about them, and feeding back on that, which a lot of people obviously hadn't done because they didn't know that they needed to have a firm handshake to come across well. And lots of people avoid that feedback. And my mum always taught me, if you can help a candidate improve, then take the opportunity to do that. It's up to them whether they want to take it or not. And so even from that point on, whether it was helping someone refine their CV and the way they present themselves, or if they hadn't dressed particularly smart, I would say that would be a way that you could help improve your chances for the future. And as with the handshake, or if they were slightly late, then I would feedback in a helpful way that this is the impression that it gives off. And so even now when I'm working with executives and senior leadership, helping them to understand what it was that didn't resonate well with the client in the most helpful way and the most constructive way is actually really rewarding. So whilst it's difficult and it's challenging, it has never taken its toll on me, no. I'd like, and this might sound, I might rub some people up the wrong way, but there are more females in recruitment than they were when I was younger, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and more females in senior and executive recruitment. In my day, we were all doing the secretarial stuff. And with females comes a little bit more emotional intelligence, I think, in my experience. So the female leaders that I work with and coach and the female recruiters that I work with and coach, yes, I believe are bringing more emotional intelligence and are hiring and selecting on soft skills as much as qualifications and experience. So bring that on, I say. No, but I do remember having to go and bail one of my contractors out of jail in the US. He was a great guy. I won't name him. He was one of my most favourite candidates that I've ever worked with. Lots and lots of fun. I was living in Houston at the time, in Texas. And he got into some trouble one night, and we needed to go, I needed to go down and pay his bail to get him out of jail. And he was forever grateful. And he was fine. There was no harm done to anybody. Just a bit of fun that went sideways. That's my most memorable moment with a candidate, I think. Oh, lots. I love video. I really love video. Whether you would class that as quirky or not, I suppose it depends what you do with it. I like dropping videos into LinkedIn messages, and lots of our clients do that really successfully, really nicely, very personalized. I like text as well. I like seeing some of the messages that I see that people send. Yeah, that's nice. And one I saw recently that I really liked had a link in the text message to her bio on her website. So from the text, you could click and see who it was that had sent her the message, which I really liked. Those are the two that stand out for me recently.